Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I hope you're doing great. Sorry, we are a bit late, just a few minutes late, and the reason is we have been working on the setup, which is a bit new for us. I'm connected with the live streaming software with my Bluetooth headset, and Moiz is connected with his microphone, if you can see it attached to his chest. And this is a kind of a new setup, and we have been testing it for a few minutes, so that's why it took us some time. But thank you so much for joining in. We'll be able to see your comments. I'm trying to connect your comments here to the other screen, but that's totally fine. Today we're going to speak about marketing communications for non-marketers. And as you know, that WordPress Jeddah has been doing a lot of events for the tech community, and especially for people who are not even in the tech community, new in the tech community, but we are inviting them to learn about WordPress, because WordPress is an ecosystem that is being used by so many entrepreneurs, so many designers, so many developers to make sure that their businesses are online. And as I mentioned in my previous meetup, that WordPress is actually being used more than 30%, is powering more than 30% of the whole World Wide Web, which is a huge number. And because of this, the WordPress organization, the organization behind WordPress, which is Automatic, they have launched different meetups across the world, across the globe. And alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, we have a meetup here in Jeddah, which is very active. We're active on WhatsApp group. We have a page on the meetup.com page, the website. And also we are very active. Before the COVID period, we used to meet every month and talk about different tech topics. We used to cover different topics. So today's topic is not that technical, but still it covers people who are in the tech field. Marketing communication, and why we chose this topic. And we invited an expert with us today, Moiz Muqri, who is in marketing communication. And mashallah, Moiz is also my friend. We know each other for some couple of years. He also attended our physical meetups before the COVID period. Yes, exactly, the WordPress meetups. And today he is with us. He doesn't need introduction, but let me introduce because we have some audience, international audience joining us today. So Moiz is a marketing communication expert. He has a tremendous experience in the local Saudi Arabian market for more than a decade, and he has been working with some great accounts. And I will allow Moiz to introduce himself in detail because I am from a tech background. I might not do some justice when I'm doing the introductions. And also Moiz will do the introductions of why marketing communication is needed and how it is relevant to the tech community as well. Please, Moiz.
Ahmed, first of all, I'm going to start out by thanking you for this much needed collaboration for marketeers as well as non-marketeers. Of course, today's webinar is mostly geared towards the technical community, people primarily who are involved with the digital marketing world, but they are on the technical side of it. And as being someone, like you said, that who has experience of more than a decade, first of all, I'm not an expert. I'm still a student, and I would always consider myself a student in any field I'm involved in. And in that respect, what has happened is that I started my career in conventional marketing, and then slowly and steadily I started to transition from conventional marketing to digital marketing.
All right.
The journey started back in 2007, and alhamdulillah, it's been growing ever since. Every day is a new learning experience. Now, what I have realized is the fact that there are a lot of talented individuals out here in the Saudi market, as well as in the wider Gulf community. But what happens usually is that people often are, due to the changing lifestyle, due to the changes in learning priorities and all these things, what we are seeing is that a very important aspect or a very important component which has been part of human civilization since the beginning of time, okay, that often gets ignored. Even though that particular component is used multiple times during the day by technical individuals and non-technical individuals, okay, with the addition of a prefix. But the thing is that people need to understand the gravity that's behind it. Okay, what I mean to say here is that if we don't take care about it, whatever our objective is, we end up struggling in achieving that. And that important component has been word or words, if I might say. Historically speaking, words have been part of human civilization, like I said, since the beginning. Even the revealed books that the Abrahamic religions that they adhere to, and we being a part of the global Muslim community, we adhere to the Quran. We realize that there are words within the holy book, and each and every word has been revealed unto mankind with a lot of care, if I might say. There are, for example, for those who know the Arabic language, one particular thing might be having 6 different names at least. A classic example is of a lion. Lion in Arabic has multiple names. It's not just 1, 2, or 3. It's more than 6, let's say. So in that respect, what happens is that when we are reading the Quran, we do realize that there are certain moments, certain aspects where one has to ask himself this question, that why God used the word ita or ati rather than following, which is in the more common term today we say ittiba. In that respect, what happens is that we are often, when it comes to the digital marketing world, we are unable to realize that how much needs to be said, what is the right amount of words that needs to be communicated, what will go in the caption, what will go in the imagery. All of these things, they need to be considered very seriously.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that, so what you mean is the context is very important when we are doing whatever work we're doing, let's say marketing. And I just wanted to add one more thing here, that we have live chat which is turned on, and we have some people who are saying hi. I want everybody to say hi on the live chat, please, so we can know that okay, you can hear us. And if you see any problems with the voice, if there's any lag, please mention that here. If you have any questions, please write them down here related to marketing communication. I'm gonna stop Moiz from time to time to cover those questions. And we have Anis saying hi, we have Shan saying hi as well, and everybody who is right now watching us, if you can say hi so we can know that okay, you can hear us. And if you can hear both of us, please let us know here as well. So you have some fans, Moiz, if you can say hi to them as well.
To my beloved fans, hi. To my friends, to my colleagues, to my ex-colleagues, people who I respect, my teachers especially, people to whom I've reported and they offered me a lot of learning. To all of you guys, I say from the bottom of my heart, hi, thank you very much for watching this live streaming, and I hope you will find this webinar quite insightful for yourselves.
Yes, thank you, especially Anis, Shan, we have Fazl saying hello, Ibtihal saying hi, Samir is also saying hello. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us. So please, I'm not going to stop you anymore.
No, it's okay. We are here for the community by the end of the day. And now, so as I was saying, maybe there might be a lot of viewers right now who are not much of history junkies, but these are some important examples that I would like to share, just so that people realize that when we are applying our expertise in digital marketing with respect to content, with respect to SEO, with respect to the body copy of our email, we have these fundamentals in our mind so that we don't divert from our main objective. Another good example that comes to my mind is that the last sermon of our beloved Prophet is Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now, that sermon, if one reads it, it's not as lengthy as one would find a constitution with respect that talks about human rights or equality or justice within a liberal democracy. It's a pretty straightforward but carefully used words. And we should be mindful of the fact that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he couldn't read and he couldn't write, and yet he was able to, give a speech, if you will, that talked about justice, and it talked about brotherhood of man. It talked about equality between races, but he did not go at great lengths to do that. It's a very concise,
To the point.
And it was relevant, as relevant 1400 years ago. It is as relevant as today. The language that was used back then is not alien to today's Arab world.
Correct.
And at the same time making it easier for other languages to translate that. English is a fairly new language compared to other European languages because they have a far older history, if I might say, like the Germanic nations. But each and every language group that we find, they are able to translate it and maintain the spirit behind it.
And I really love your point about how concise the sermon is, because I find this very challenging every day when we're doing marketing campaigns for clients and even for our own internal purposes. We have customer segments, and it's very challenging to actually make sure that whatever we are writing is relevant to all our customer profiles. So we end up doing different piece of content for every target profile.
Exactly.
And that takes a lot of work. So the concise content, piece of content, is very difficult to do.
Yeah.
But like you said, the example that you gave is brilliant. That concise piece of content, which is not that long, it's still relevant to people till now, like after 1400 years.
Whereas what we find here is that there's a lot of content that's being published out in the world today. And if I restrict my examples to Saudi Arabia and the wider Gulf region, what we find is that it's mostly, a lot of the times, I'm not going to say all of the times, but a lot of the times, it's just, people are just communicating for the sake of communicating. Okay, La Tafawwat, Bushra Sara, don't miss, special offer. You don't build brands with this sort of communication. Building brands is about delivering the promise. Now, if that promise is not being communicated so that the person not only finds it relevant, but also gets off his sofa or gets off his seat and comes to your venue or whether your online store and makes a purchase, then what's the point? Today's world it doesn't have any deficit when it comes to talent in graphic designing, as well as the world today, and especially today Saudi Arabia, is in no shortage of copywriters. But unfortunately what we are seeing is that copywriters are now, and it's not their fault, by the way, it's the fault of the clients, the people who are the decision makers, the people who are the brand owners, who are hiring agencies, who are hiring designers, and all these people who are responsible for, basically delivering the entire communication, the visual plus the text that comes with it. They insist on things out of their whim. Okay? And by the end of the day, you are in the service industry. If your client is insistent on something, how many clients can you refuse? By the end of the day, the pressure builds up and you have to give in. But the damage that's happening is that the business will not grow. Short-term sales boosters do not result in business growth. What requires is that winning over the trust of your target audience, because they should know that, okay, X brand promises me X, ABC. And when they get in touch with you, whether through online or offline means, they get that promise delivered. Their experience should not be different to what you are claiming. How do you ensure that? It is through communication. It is through marketing communication. But in that respect, what do you need to say? What you don't need to say? how you need to say. Whatever you have said, where should it be placed, where should it not be placed? That's a very important aspect. Now, this is basically the issue that comes across on the outer side, which is the final product, the published product. Whether it's your homepage, whether it's your entire published website, whether it's your Facebook post, Instagram post. But there is another aspect that goes behind it, which is more to do with search engine optimization. Now, in search engine optimization, why did I start my webinar with the word words? Because you're a technical person. Today's technicality vis-a-vis digital marketing revolves around a very important element, and it's called keywords.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever tried to ask themselves the question, why do we use the term keywords? Why don't we use the word words? Okay, we use the word keyword because this keyword is like a key that opens the lock, that opens the door, that removes the barrier that exists between your business and your target market.
It's the most important word.
Most important word. And if your content is not having those keywords as part of its entire communication structure, then you will keep on struggling. On another note, there is one very interesting example that I came across, and that was for a brand advisory. Now, today, Saudi Arabia has offices of Siegel and Gale. It is a New York-based, world-renowned brand advisory firm. Now, when you go to Google, if you had gone to Google, let's say like 5 years ago when these guys had established their office in Riyadh, and if you type the word branding or brand, you would only get SERPs, search engine results, for those who are not aware, of production houses.
Okay.
Why? Because stationary branding. Which was the other word? Placing your brand on the product, printing your logo on the product. These were the things, these were the businesses that were appearing as part of the SERPs if you had typed branding, if you had typed the word brand.
It's like almost 10 years ago.
Almost 10 years ago. And the reason was that before that, the market was not mature enough with respect to the brand strategy side of things and all that. And as there is a word in Arabic which is called ghalat al-am, meaning that something wrong that becomes part of the norm. Okay, and people just started to use the word brand or branding in a totally different way, which was not relevant at all to brand strategy. So for businesses like them, I'm sure it has been a huge challenge, because if they are using the words brand or branding in their communication, what's going to happen is that they would be ending up in like page, let's say 20 or beyond in the SERPs, and people would be unable to reach them. So how do you fine tune that? Again, you need to study what the local market's understanding for brand advisory is.
Okay.
And it turned out consultancy. Okay. So if you're saying brand consultancy, not just branding, not just brand, okay, if you're saying brand consultancy, then the word consultancy was at least able to land you in one of the top pages or even one of the top results.
Now, I have a question. It's related to what we are doing at Saudi, and we are primarily focusing on marketing technology. But the thing is that a lot of people here in the local industry, they don't know about marketing technology, just like a lot of people did not know about branding before. So my question to you is that even though when we search for digital marketing agencies, a lot of search results occur, and we can see our competitors there that are actually getting the market share. But so my question to you is, should we rank against digital marketing agency? Should we work on that part, or should we keep our focus to increasing the awareness about marketing technology, or we should be doing both?
You have to maintain your focus. Okay. Now the thing is that in order to maintain focus, one of the biggest challenges is having the right amount of patience. Okay, because improving your search results is not something that you can accomplish within the next 3 months. Especially, I gave you an example for, let's say, for ever since the internet entered the Saudi market, the search engines were seeing the fact that anyone who is typing for brand or branding was actually looking for a production house. So you have like 10 years or more of search results that were not reflective of the reality. Or in a way, like, this is like, it goes in both ways. It was showing that ground reality, that what people have the understanding with respect to brand and branding, but at the same time it was not reflecting the reality of a brand advisory firm, because people need to understand. So what is that is needed? Paid search has helped greatly in that respect. At the same time, you need to look out for alternative keywords that might be closer to your keyword.
Okay.
Now, as an example, a firm like Siegel and Gale, they always call themselves brand advisory firm. Now, the local market says consultancy.
Okay.
Is it okay for you to assign this keyword for your business? This is the question that you need to ask yourself. So in that respect, now there are digital agencies. I come across a lot of digital agencies who only do social media management. They don't do SEO. They don't have the technical capabilities. But the only problem is that they are a digital agency, plus there is another agency that's also, from the face of it, is a digital agency, but it's all technical. So as a person who is looking for professional expertise, who is looking for professional services, how am I going to be able to differentiate between the two? Okay, not everybody is going to be having similar amount of experience as I do. Okay, there are people like me, but there are also people who are not like me. So for people who are not like me, who don't have the required knowledge or information of the difference between SEO, social media, analytics, web development, application development, these people will struggle. So in that respect, it is incumbent upon businesses, people who realize the importance of communication, to basically maintain their identity, use paid search, okay, and as well as look for alternative keywords that are closer to their keywords, because you cannot compromise on your own keywords. Might I remind you, Pepsi, for example, one of the keywords that we find in Pepsi is generation next, or next generation, that keeps on going with it. Let's assume that the local market is looking for something else with respect to the next generation. Can Pepsi all the way alter its brand tonality? Can they alter the keywords that define their business?
So now it's good that you gave an example of Pepsi, which is a huge brand, and they're like more than 100 years old, almost 100 years old, right?
Almost, yes.
Yeah. So of course they have all that budget to change the perspective of the masses, and they're putting in money. And I also went through some case studies when I was doing MBA, that okay, they actually how they were able to achieve that by changing the perspective of their brand in the mindset of the masses. So but most of the audiences that we have in our community here, they're mostly entrepreneurs. I'm sure, is there any way that we as entrepreneurs can actually achieve the same thing that these brands like Pepsi and Coca-Cola they're able to do by changing the mindset of the masses. Like for example, you said that I have to focus on my keywords, but my keywords are not that famous unless and until a big player comes in and they put in a lot of advertisement budget and they change the mindset of the people. So if I don't want to be at the mercy of these large players, I'm an entrepreneur, let's say I'm a freelancer, what should I be doing to change the mindset or introduce my keyword to the masses?
Okay, since you're a digital business, I would recommend, or I would suggest that you look at examples of digital companies like Google and eBay. Before Google, was there even an English word called Google in any dictionary?
No.
Okay. Google in itself has become a keyword. How? Because of the promise that they kept on delivering. Look, whether you're in the digital age, whether you're not in the digital age, okay, one thing remains constant. You deliver your promise, you get identified for it. People develop a perception. Okay. Now, if you don't deliver your promise, obviously your perception is going to be negative. But if you deliver your promise, people will start remembering you. And over a period of time, the words that define you, your business, will start registering within the hearts and minds of the people. And they will start looking for you. But it requires patience, not budgets. Because your budgets are needed. You know, a lot of it's a common practice in the local market that operations are different. Marketing is a different department. Okay, in terms of function, yes. But people need to realize the fact that who is delivering the brand promise? Is it marketeer or is it the operations guy? It's the operations guy. How? When you go to Al-Baik, do you get your hot food on a tray with the sauce, with your drinks, everything in a particular format from their marketing director or their marketing manager? You get it from their operations guy.
Correct.
Okay. Now, these people are actually responsible for delivering your promise. That's why Al-Baik is a classic example of a brand that maintained its focus for all these years. Okay, and now I have some issues with how they are, pursuing diversification. That's a different story. But if you look at Al-Baik's history, it didn't have the budget of Pepsi Cola. It didn't have the budget of Microsoft or General Electric. They had a simple idea: fried chicken with garlic sauce, French fries, okay, and that was it. If you need drinks, other side items, okay, we have those too, but those side items are also relevant to the chicken that's being served, because coleslaw goes with fried chicken. You don't have Caesar salad going with fried chicken. This is another aspect. So when they started doing that, they kept on delivering this promise consistently, and they were up against Kentucky Fried Chicken, mind you, because Kentucky Fried Chicken was there in the 70s here in Saudi Arabia. It was here in the 80s, and then it made a big comeback in the 90s. But look at Al-Baik and look at Kentucky Fried Chicken. The reason being is that Al-Baik, being a local brand, today Al-Baik, the word Al-Baik is registered not only for people here in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah or in Riyadh or in Qasim, but it's also registered in companies like, it's also registered in the hearts and minds of people in Egypt, Jordan, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, even Western European countries. So maintain your focus. Try to deliver your promise. If Suhubi is known for technical aspects of digital marketing, it is delivering its services in the right time, in as per the expected quality, as per the expectation. Tomorrow, we never know, Suhobi might become a word of it on its own, like Al-Bake.
So just to add here, the key takeaway from here is that just promising is not enough.
Delivery.
It might also backfire if the operational side is not delivering. So in branding, it's not just promising or telling that okay, you're associated with this. And also, this is a very good advice for entrepreneurs and freelancers who don't have that budget for changing the mindset. What they can do is keep delivering whatever they have promised.
Exactly.
And they will automatically, it will take time, but they will establish a certain mindset. They will associate certain keywords with their brand name or with their identity.
Because when you deliver a promise, that's an experience for the customer, and you need to ensure that experience is as per their expectation, in line with your promise. And the other aspect is, like when you were emphasizing on this, a local bank decided to rebrand. Now, when do you do rebranding? You do rebranding to show your relevance for the changing times. Pepsi's identity was, when it started out, was very much of the rock and roll era of the 50s, the Elvis era, the Buddy Holly era. But as the music scene changed, and because Pepsi always associates itself with, has always associated itself with famous music celebrities over the decades. They did so with Michael Jackson. They even did here with Qusay in Saudi Arabia. The thing was that I just got lost in my thought. This happens a lot with me. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I get a bit carried away.
Meanwhile, you collect your thoughts. I have another question because
Yeah.
I'm representing the WordPress community here. So I know what questions they might be asking. I know they will kill me because in the live chat they might be about to ask that question, and I know what they're going to ask. So first of all, we have Kashif saying hello. Tasif is also saying hello. Alakano has joined us from Khobar. He's saying hello as well. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you very much
for joining in. And so my question here is, Moiz, what common mistakes have you seen? Like, I'm sure, because we have done these mistakes ourselves as a company, but I'm sure that these mistakes are done by a lot of startups, freelancers, or let's say people who are just starting their business. What common mistakes have you noticed which are related to branding or marketing communication? Let's talk about one or two of them, which they can avoid if people who have joined in, because I know more than 80-90% of them who are joining in today, they are coming from an entrepreneurial background. So what common mistakes do entrepreneurs make when it comes to marketing communication?
One of the biggest mistake, and unfortunately these mistakes are not only keep restricted to the entrepreneurs. It is unfortunately part of the big businesses as well. And I'm glad you posed this question, because now I remember where I was going with my Pepsi example. So Pepsi rebranded itself, in the 70s, by changing its identity to be more appealing to the new generation that was coming in, because the generation was not able to relate to an identity, to a value proposition that was more relevant to the 50s and the rock and roll era. Rock and roll era was gone. 70s was all about disco, and it was transcending into the pop scene thanks to Michael Jackson. So you see that how they have basically completed their journey and where they are today. People think that rebranding is just about changing the logo. No, it's not about changing the logo. It's also about changing your product to suit the tastes. Now, today's millennial and Generation Z are giving a tough time to companies like Pepsi and Coca-Cola, because they don't want that much sugar. They don't like aspartame if it's a diet drink and all that. So now Pepsi and Coca-Cola are trying to rebrand themselves so that they can appeal to this segment which is very health conscious compared to my generation, compared to your generation before. And in that respect, does it require the identity change? We never know. Maybe it might, maybe it won't. But the thing is that Pepsi, for a company that has huge amounts of money, okay, its presence is global. Coca-Cola, name me any country and Coca-Cola is not there. Even if a country is having its own flagship brand, beverage brand, Coca-Cola owns it. India's famous Thumbs Up is owned by Coca-Cola. But even these companies do one thing which unfortunately our market doesn't do.
Which is?
First of all, maintaining focus, delivering the promise. Okay, using your marketing team to ensure that the operations team are able to deliver the promise in the exact way as you have defined. You know, your operations guy is, when you go to let's say McDonald's, they always greet you in a particular way. You don't find that greeting in Al-Baik. Hello sir, welcome to McDonald's. Who tells them that? It's not the operations director. This is the brand tonality that is part of McDonald's brand book. This is how people need to be greeted. Now, how does it transcend into the digital world? You have CRM. If I am starting a chat with a McDonald's representative for any query, whatever have you, I will be greeted by that McDonald's representative in a particular way. The line of communication, and this is where the marketing individuals define it. Marketing is not about placing advertisements all across the streets, billboards and everything. Yes, it is an aspect of it, but it depends why you need to do that. When you need to generate an awareness about something new that people are totally not aware of, fine. But to believe that this is what marketing is, no. And then there is another problem that comes with it. The problem that comes with it now, and in the digital aspect of it, for entrepreneurs especially, if I am on my social media, I don't have a clue whether should I put my text in the imagery or should I put it in the caption. This is a huge challenge. Why it's a huge challenge? Because my previous boss, and I'm really grateful to him for that, he taught me one thing, and I tried it again and again and again and again, and every time it proves to be true. Al-Arab yagra surah. Arab reads the picture. The Arab person reads the picture. They read the message, the visual message. They don't go to the caption. If the, it's not an absolute, but this is the, most of them. This is part of the Arab behavior, especially in the Khalij. Okay, they will look at the message which is part of the visual. Now, anyone who is a social media marketeer, he will immediately say, well, we cannot put so many words in the imagery because then Facebook and Instagram, they have this policy that the text should not be more than 25% of the overall visual. Valid point. Valid point. It is up to you to find the ideal mix. If the consumer behavior, if the consumer behavior is such that they read the message rather than the caption, then how do you ensure that all of that information can be encapsulated? And it's a challenge because, for example, companies, automotive companies, they have offers about installments, for example. Now they need to mention some legal points. Okay, shurut wal ahkam, as they say, terms and conditions. Those cannot be part of your visual. So you need to mention it in your visual that please read terms and condition in the caption. But maintain the visual as an image, just a headline, maximum sub headline, ensuring that it doesn't occupy more than 25% of the visual. This is how you do it.
So the example, this is excellent. But the example you gave regarding how the American society moved from the
Rock and roll decade, yes.
decade, and then they moved into the pop one. So it reminded me of. All right, my microphone I think was not connected, or is it still not connected? All right, I might be using your microphone right now. But guys, I think my microphone is not connected because I cannot see the signals there. So can you hear me clearly? Because I'm right now my voice goes through Moiz microphone. This is a technical problem, I believe so. But I believe you can still hear me because the gain on the Moiz Muqri's microphone is excellent. So I just want to make sure that you guys are alive, and also you want to make sure that you can hear me because I'm right now speaking through Moiz microphone. Guys, please confirm if you can hear me. One more time. So my question, Moiz, to you is that, okay, Anis is saying my voice is not clear. Okay, let me disconnect my phone. Just a minute. Just a minute. Yeah, I think I have to disconnect my phone.
Please bear with us for a few minutes.
All right. I hope it will get connected. Hello? No, not yet. Just give me a second. Hello, everybody.
A close-up of Ahmed Mushtaq.
I will just re-establish the connection. Samir is saying I cannot hear the well. If you fix your mic, I can hear Moiz very well. Okay, perfect.
Thanks, Samir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ibtihal. Thank you, Anis.
I think I'm connected now. Properties. Hello. Hey guys. Hello? I think there's a technical problem and I don't want to restart the whole system. Can I use your microphone?
Yeah, sure.
Right. Hello.
I think let's just share this.
Yeah.
That would be much better.
You're not taking your shirt off, right? So guys, there is a technical problem. So I'm gonna use my Moiz microphone. Thank you, Moiz, for letting me borrow it. It's mine in the first place, but yeah.
You're hosting me, and you're thanking me for that.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for letting us know that you were not able to hear me because I'm always afraid. This microphone is excellent, but sometimes it get connected with my phone if there's a call. So somebody was calling me and it lost its connection with the laptop. So all right. So Moiz, what I was asking not asking actually, I was commenting on the point that you were giving an example of how the American society transcended from the rock and roll era to the pop culture era, and I find it very relevant here. Like for example, in our tech industry, we see that okay, we have transcended now into AI and machine learning. All right, and of course we have specialized companies who are focusing on these technologies, or let's say this is an era for the marketing agency companies or other agencies as well. So can we say that okay, this is very relevant to your Pepsi example? Like marketing agencies now, they're trying to make themselves relevant because a lot of people now, they're searching for AI and marketing automation and AI and machine learning, and the applications of these two technologies are not just in a particular industry, they can be applied in many industries. So a marketing agency trying to make it relevant to the people, to the masses, and they make sure that their brand now also includes these. So would it be would you advise for that or not? Like would you think that this might harm the brand image of the company or the agency?
It can, because you need to understand one thing, that when you start a business, let's say you started a business, I prefer to give very simplistic examples so that we relate them to our digital age as well. you can't start out with let's say an automotive garage, okay, and then next thing you know you're starting to sell food. Okay, are there businesses that are diversified? This is coming from a very business strategy perspective. Yes, they are diversified. There are businesses that are into one sector as well as the other sector. They are conglomerates. Jafali Group is a good example about it, because Jafali Group is not only in automotive, it's also in steel manufacturing and all that. It's into truck assembly. It's also into information technology, and I mean like the SBM solutions, which are more geared towards the mainframe technology and all that. But you need to do it in a very subtle way that doesn't compromise your brand and its integrity. Now, in that respect, when you're saying that marketing agencies are trying to make themselves relevant, here I want to make a distinction. When I look at the startups in Saudi Arabia, I am very much optimistic. Why? Because the people who are owners of these startups, the entrepreneurs, they have a much better understanding than the people who are working in, let's say, companies like Procter & Gamble or Unilever, because these two very esteemed companies are working on a trade marketing model. Whereas you have startups that are clearly, first of all, identifying what they want to deliver. They are very clear about it. Okay, how are they going to deliver? They are also clear about that. How do they need to project this? How do they need to be seen? It's like this entire balanced scorecard performance management tool that they have this in mind. Of course, there are some startups that are failing as well because they are not taking into consideration. But you don't see things, I mean, unrelated diversification is risky, but unrelated diversification is something you do when your business has grown up to the extent that it's now into acquisitions and mergers and everything. For a startup, it's crucial that they focus on their brand promise, focus on their main line of business, because that's how people will start remembering them. That's how their perception is going to be built. That's how they will be having their own brand following. And it doesn't only apply to startups that are into restaurants or that are into entertainment or something like that. It also applies to people like yourself. Okay, now in your respect, for example, the services that you are offering, I mean, is AI relevant to your line of business? Because your line of business is mostly about digital marketing technical support, because again, AI is a huge field now. We are hearing, or not hearing, we are now coming across reports by the World Bank that are forecasting that 90% of the accountancy jobs are going to go straight to the robots. Now, is that something your business does? No. Maybe tomorrow when your business grows and it reaches to a point that when you start looking into the fact that, okay, I want to enter this market, okay, then you need to be asking these questions. At this stage where you are, startups that are newly formed or startups that are 3 years old or even those that are 5 years old, you guys need to first of all establish yourself as a brand. You need to become like Albaik, you need to become like Pepsi, you need to become like IBM, you need to become like Google. Google did not start to diversify its services until 4 or 5 years ago recently. The day they were created, they just focused on one thing.
Search.
That was it.
Can I give an example?
Please.
I just wanted to add some example because you mentioned Google. You have been mentioning Google, and I find it very interesting that even if Google diversified into so many things, like, okay, they bought YouTube, then they had Orkut, which got failed, then they had Google Plus, again failed, but then of course they went into different stuff such as Blogspot and Madresh, like they have a lot of things under their belt, but I still find it like mesmerizing that all of that is actually, even the captcha that they're using, that they're providing, even though it's there, the primary function of the captcha is to identify if you're a human or a bot. But that is also being used in Google Images. Because we humans, when we identify that, okay, out of these 4 images, these 3 has the bus, or these 2 has the dog. This gets saved into their algorithms for Google Images that helps them enhance their search. So everything is going back, like even the voice recognition that they're providing in their keyboard, in their mobile, in the Android mobile phones, and even now Microsoft is using it. That is actually also being used in YouTube for search engine optimization. So the video that we're recording right now, this will be processed by YouTube, okay? Amazing. And all of what we're speaking right now, even though we have an accent, we're not native English speakers, it will be saved as text. And the captions will be generated automatically, and then it will be saved in database. So people who are searching online on YouTube, I don't have to write any description. So okay, I'm sorry guys, I went too technical here, but what I wanted to say,
it's a good thing, because you have in fact elaborated the example that I was giving you. Look, when Google started out, I don't know what they were thinking when they were in their garage deciding that we are going to call our business Google and it's going to be a search engine. But when I look into their, because from my educational background, I'm a chartered certified accountant. So yeah.
I didn't know that. Guys, you know this, you know him now.
But I'm not a tax advisor, so don't send me your tax advisory questions. So what I think they had in mind was that they would control information. They would have ownership of information. The soundbite about your accent, my accent, is an information. Our location is information. Our visuals, our video is information. Okay. This is what Google is capitalizing. This has been their diversification strategy. That anything that is about information, we will own it. Google Books. What is Google Books? It's just information. And the good thing about Google is that their model is so friendly, so accommodating, that people are willingly, it's so convenient, okay, that people are willingly giving information. I mean, if I want to know about a particular book, I don't go to Amazon.com, search for that. I go to Amazon.com to buy it after reading the review on Google Books. This is huge.
It is.
But coming back to the point, if any startup idolizes Google, this is what they need to understand. You have to start with your main idea. From that idea, things will automatically start to mature into opportunities. Will those opportunities be related diversification, or will they be unrelated diversification? That's a separate story. Just one thing is, don't listen to your accountants. Okay, the purpose of your accountants, and trust me, I am a chartered certified accountant, so this is something which you need to take it seriously. I'm not saying this as a joke. When it comes to business decisions, you should not be taking advice from your accountants. Mercedes-Benz worst decade was the 90s, because the guy who was leading them was an accountant. Mercedes-Benz has a history of people who are coming from an engineering and technology background. This was only one decade, which was the 90s, that Mercedes-Benz had the worst era in its entire history. And today, when I think his CEO's name was Schramm forgot the name. When this guy was replaced by Dr. Dieter Zeitsch, popularly known as Dr. Z, who then laid down the strategic priorities, the strategic objectives for the next 10 years, today Mercedes-Benz is not competing with Hyundai, it's not competing with Toyota, it's not competing with Bentley, it is competing with Google. It is competing with Tesla. Like you said, AI.
Yeah.
AI plus environmental concerns. Google started out with search engine. That's it. Before Google was Yahoo, and Yahoo was everywhere. Everyone was using Yahoo. The only other brand that I can think of was AskJeeves.com.
Yeah, there was also Alta Vista.
Alta Vista.
Yeah.
Okay. Bing from Microsoft also made an impression. But Google trumped all of them. Because Google remained true. They kept on improving. They kept on developing their service further to ensure that anyone who is looking for a particular information finds it convenient to use Google. Others were not doing that. Now Google has set the trend and others are following, even though they came before Google, well before Google. Yeah. Patience is key, focus is key. In our part of the world, unfortunately, people don't have the patience. Everyone wants to become a millionaire overnight. Everyone wants to become a big conglomerate overnight. It doesn't work that way.
Also, we don't live that long. So that we cannot have patience. So.
No, people in the Western world also don't live long. They die in 60s, 70s, 80s. Now the lifespan within our part of the world is increasing because, alhamdulillah, things have improved significantly with respect to healthcare and everything. But still, even if somebody dies young, their legacy has to live on. And their legacy can only live on if their organization has strategic priorities set, their strategic objectives clearly defined, and those objectives are being translated into marketing tactics. People commonly use the word marketing strategy. There is no such thing as marketing strategy. It's marketing tactics. Brand strategy is the word. This is what I learned from my teacher, Mr. Saeed Baagil. And the brand strategy is basically your idea. Why you want to do business? What is the gap in the market that you want to fill? How do you want to deliver your promise? What should the customer experience when you deliver the promise? And then at the same time, what I need to do in the next 5 years with respect to my line of business. Do I need to introduce new services, or should I keep on building on the existing one?
I think we're also running out of time right now. I want to conclude this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if I can have the opportunity. So, guys, we have almost run out of time, and this is the best right now. At the end of the session, it's the best time if you have any questions, because I have been asking questions on your behalf, because you know what questions, and some questions were already sent before the call, so I have asked them in the session. Now, meanwhile, you write your questions here. I want to dedicate this session of today to my friend Sudiksha Bhatti. She passed away actually 10 days ago, and I met her in Boston last year when I went there for the Babson courses, and she came from a very rural area in India, and I was very inspired by her story, because she came to Boston, she came to Babson College, which is the #1 college when it comes to entrepreneurial studies, and I was really inspired. I was there for 2 weeks, and we actually made a very good bond. And just 10 days ago, I came to know that because of COVID, she went back to India, and it was God's will. She passed away in an accident. And I will request all of you to please remember her in your prayers. And yeah, so I would like to dedicate this session to her. Other than this, I want to thank all of you who are watching, who are with us today, and after the session, you can always reach Moiz. I will share the contact details in the group. You can reach out to Moiz if you have any questions related to marketing communications. And Moiz, you promise that you will get back to them, right? If anyone has a question, right? If they came through WordPress or through us.
WordPress through us, I'm gonna be. I always try to help out. But if you guys are looking for full-time advisory, that's not.
Yeah, disclaimer: if you're looking for full-time advisory, it's not for free. But yeah, if you're coming through WordPress, most of it will be discounted.
Yeah. Not only discounted. I mean, I try to help as much as I can. Okay, this is something I take pride in.
Okay.
But what I a lot of times what happens is that people use the help aspect and then convert it into their free advice.
I totally get that. I get that a lot of times. So it's very difficult to take care of. So we have a question, very interesting question from Samir, and he's asking, I want to ask about omni-channel in digital marketing. Would you please elaborate on it versus multi-channel strategies? Moiz.
Thank you, Samir, for this question. Omni-channel, basically, when you're saying in digital marketing, it's about being present across the board. Omni is like an effect of a spotlight, okay, that is encompassing an entire area, if you will. So using that example, what happens is that it's not just, a lot of people, what they are doing is that they say digital marketing, but in fact they are meaning what they mean is actually social media marketing. That's not omni-channel marketing. Omni-channel marketing in digital world means that it's paid search, it's social media marketing, it's Google ads, it's video ads. Okay, it's something similar to what Amazon is doing right now. Amazon.sa, if you go on to YouTube, if you go on to anywhere on any website in Saudi Arabia, you will come across their message, their awareness, their communication, their advert, because they are everywhere. So this is what we are saying. Multi-channel strategy is something which is more relevant to the conventional marketing side of things, because in multi-channel market strategies, you have the modern trade. For example, modern trade refers to Jarir, Panda, the Noob, these hypermarkets or these specialized electronic stores. And then you have the cluster market, which are these individual shops that are selling, let's say, smartphones and stuff like that. So if in case of an FMCG, for example, their multi-channel would include modern trade meaning Al-Nahdi, if it is into pharmaceuticals and all that, but let's keep it FMCG. So modern trade would mean that it's hypermarkets, it's supermarket chains, and then there will be the cluster market or the conventional market, the conventional trade, which are the bakalas and the tamwinat and all that. Then there will be trade marketing, which is like more of a B2B oriented side of things. So this is what it is. But omni-channel, when you're saying in digital strategy, it's like you are being present across the board. You're not just focusing on one aspect of digital marketing. I hope I answered your question clearly.
Great. Thank you so much, Moiz. With this, we'd like to conclude our session for today. If you use the same link to get to the video, you will be able to find the recorded session. I will request everybody if they can share the session with others. We have a very active community for people who are interested in WordPress and relevant topics on Meetup. If you search WordPress Jeddah on Google, you will find it on the top of the page. And if you're interested to join the WhatsApp group that we have, where you can ask any questions and the community would love to answer, you can message me directly and I can share the link to the WhatsApp group as well. Thank you so much, everybody. One last question from Amir, because he is one of my favorite guys. Actually, not because of that, but yeah, Amir is a very good friend as well, and he is very well known in the marketing field here. So I'm sure that the question he is asking will help everybody. So he's asking, which digital channel strategy would you recommend focusing on for promoting a medical app for B2B and B2C?
Well, Amir, I think you're asking for an advisory in that respect. So, for that, you can always visit my profile on takeanswers.com, and I can always give you a full scale advisory on this part. However, with respect to your question, I can give you a summarized answer in that respect. When you're talking about medical app, you need to know that what's the digital consumption behavior of your target audience. If you know who your target audience is and what are the apps or the sites or the social media channels or the pages or the accounts that they are following, then you will be having a better idea in that respect. It's about, you know, how you are able to use the tools that are available to you today through Facebook, especially because the advantage with Facebook is that you know, not only get data mined only for Facebook users but also for Instagram users. So you got two social mediums covered in one tool. The other aspect is that with respect to a totally focused B2B, try looking into LinkedIn, for example. But all of this comes after you have done a proper analysis of your, I'm not saying a market research, I'm saying you just have the right amount of insight, knowing that how your audience is behaving in the digital realm. And then you will be having a better answer with respect to your medical app in terms of which social media do we need to use, which what do we need to do for paid search, do we need a paid search to begin with, should we be going for Google ads, should we be advertising on WordPress sites? It all depends. So do the first thing, have the right amount of insights, know how your how your audience behaves in the digital world, and then based on that move forward.
Great. Thank you so much, Moiz. Again, thank you, Amir and Samer, for those excellent questions. Guys, again, join our group on meetup.com and share this video with others. And also, if you're interested in tech-related, marketing-related topics, I would request you to please hit the subscribe button that is below the video. And if you want to get notified automatically, click on the notification icon as well. I keep forgetting about this. I want all of you who are watching to please click on the subscribe button. Thank you so much. And inshallah, I will be sharing this video once the processing is done. Thank you.